Chapter 53. A Cleansing and a Funeral. Genesis 35, 1-29. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeareth unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him, when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Allon Bachoth. And God appeared unto Jacob again, when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labour. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labour, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edai. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years, and Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis 35, 1-29. At this point, God ordered a return to Bethel, where God met Jacob with a vision of angels. Verse 1. His family needed to be confronted with God and the covenant. Having spent 20 years with Laban, Jacob's family had not been confronted with a clear division between covenant keepers and covenant breakers. Their faith had become syncretistic, that is, it involved contradictory beliefs and alliances. We know that God now required that, whether or not they received it, Jacob's family had to know the difference between God and what Jacob calls strange gods. Verse 2. These gods are called, quote-unquote, strange or foreign because they are alien to God's covenant. These were to be, quote, put away, end quote. They were to, quote, be clean, end quote, that is, freshly bathed and to wear a newly washed change of clothing, Exodus 19:10. Respect for God from the time of Genesis to the present has meant such cleanliness as a sign of respect. As a result, all who had any, quote, strange gods, end quote, gave them up. These would be small, quote, lucky pieces, end quote, that would fit in the hand. Also surrendered would be all the earrings. These would not be ones belonging to the women, but those used by men. Jacob's household included numerous servants, and this applied to them as well. Male earrings have meant over the centuries slavery on their part, so that a male with earrings was indicating bondage to a man or to a god. Such usage has also meant that the user is a passive homosexual and was commonly so used by pirates in the 18th century. Jacob buried the idols and the earrings under an oak near Shechem. He did this secretly. As Jacob moved towards Bethel, none dared attack him, for, quote, the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. Verse 5. This was not because of any fear of Simeon and Levi, but because God had, for other reasons, put terror in their hearts. Jacob went to Bethel with all his people, built an altar, and worshipped God. Verses 6 and 7. At this time, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried there under an oak, named, quote, the Oak of Weeping. Verse 8. God then spoke to Jacob first, reminding him that his name was Israel, a prince with God. The conduct of Levi and Simeon in murdering the Shechemites had left Jacob horrified and depressed. The girls and womenfolk of the Shechemites had been seized by Levi and Simeon, some perhaps sold, others taken into their households. This alone brought in paganism. Jacob needed to be reminded who and what he was in God's sight. Second, the covenant blessing of fertility is again set forth. One more son would soon be born to Jacob, so the promise was mainly for his posterity. Third, nations and kings would be born from his line, and God's promise of the land to Abraham and Isaac applied to Jacob also. It is worth noting that the key people did not derive their name from Abraham and Isaac, but from Jacob and Israel, verses 9 to 13. When Jacob left Bethel, Rachel, who was pregnant, gave birth to Benjamin. She died in childbirth, and she called her son Benoni, meaning son of my sorrow. But Jacob changed it to Benjamin, the son of the right hand, verses 16 to 18. Rachel was buried at Bethlehem. Jacob marked the grave with a pillar, verses 19 and 20. Jacob went off to a remote area with his herds, and while gone, Reuben, his eldest son, an unstable person, Genesis 49:4, quote, went and lay with Bilhah, verse 22. Nothing more is said other than, quote, Israel heard it, verse 22. We are not told whether or not this occurred in an isolated place and was in effect rape, or whether Bilhah was guilty as well. Two things can be said. First, Bilhah was Rachel's handmaid and thus dear to Jacob, so that it destroyed that relationship. Second, while the sisters had ceased their rivalry, the sons clearly had not. Reuben's act was to obliterate the Rachel tie by polluting Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid. Jacob never forgot nor forgave this act. Then, in verses 23 to 26, we were given a list of the 12 sons by their mothers. Jacob went to see his father Isaac at Hebron, where both Abraham and Isaac had lived. There Isaac died at age 180. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him, verses 27 to 29, a fact which indicated that there was peace between them and some element of the covenant faith in Esau, however formal. Two facts about death need to be noted. First, death and burial have always been a family rite. Historically, in many cultures, it is a time of family gatherings, and today, in many Christian countries, a time of reunions, dinners, and a renewing of family ties. In the United States, less traditional than many countries, such family gatherings are still quite important. Second, even more, funerals are religious events. Without the religious faith, the funeral soon disappears. Cremation and a scattering of the ashes is done without ceremony. Funerals are family events because of their religious nature. As a result, syncretism in a funeral was a very serious matter. In Psalm 106:28, God indicts Israel for flagrant waywardness, declaring, quote, "They joined themselves unto Baal Peor and ate the sacrifices of the dead." End quote. In very recent years, the importance of the funeral as religious act was such that some, even in the 1950s, sorrowfully abstained from attending the funeral of a friend or relative on religious grounds. This could mean the quote-unquote wrong church was in charge because of a son's divergent faith, or it could be, as in one instance, because an atheistic group was conducting the service. The rise of funeral chapels was a convenience to the mortician, but it also, quote, neutralized, end quote, the religious problem by taking the funeral service out of a particular church. Unless Esau had in some sense recognized the priority of the covenant God, his presence at the funeral would have been a very serious breach of conduct. For untold ages, presence at a funeral has normally been a religious act first, a family act second. Our narrative begins with a religious cleansing and ends with a funeral. The two events are not dissimilar.